Have you heard yourself say, "There's a part of me that's afraid," or "There's a part of me that would like to move on"? Well, there's a reason for that. Our personalities are made up of many parts. When I was struggling with confidence and self-esteem after my divorce, I worked with a therapist who asked me who was running the show in my mind. She helped me identify 3 different parts of myself. One I called Shadow, and she was very scared, skeletal, and withering. Shadow didn't feel capable of anything and often wanted to crawl off and die. Then there was who I called my hippie girl. She was optimistic and saw the possibility in everything, even if it wasn't realistic. She would be happy living communally and making jewelry or garden art with found objects. And then I identified Sandra. She was the calm, secure, wise woman who trusted herself based on all the life experience she'd gained. She was resilient and highly capable. Can you guess who was running the show when I was feeling helpless, adrift, and unlovable? Shadow was. My therapist suggested I observe the other 2 parts I'd identified and asked how could I bring them a bit more to the forefront. This is an exploration you can do with a therapist, coach, or even a friend who is working on their self-empowerment. When the lowest part of ourself is in charge, we get stuck in very low vibration emotions, and we have very uncomfortable feelings, and our thoughts can be dark and dismal. Hi, I'm Patty Blue Hayes, author, coach, and your guide to blossoming beyond heartbreak and cultivating hope as you sow the seeds of healing. I want to share 2 topics for you to explore further: internal family systems, IFS, and archetypes. The IFS approach is like therapy for all the inner parts of yourself who make up who you are overall. Have you ever lived with roommates? You know how challenging it can be to deal with all the different personality types and habits they have? Well, imagine those roommates are permanently residing in your head all the time, 24/7. With IFS, you're kind of like the therapist for all the roommates. You're neutral and objective, you listen and are curious. You're compassionate and never judgmental. With our internal mind mates, we can tend to ignore, judge, or dismiss them. But since they are permanent residents, it's best if we acknowledge them and seek to understand them. The idea is to get to know these different parts, listen to their concerns, and find out what they need. Usually they need some love and compassion and will stop pestering you if you just give them some recognition. Instead of feeling like one mind mate is dominating everyone else, IFS can help you create inner balance and harmony. IFS can be a very powerful tool. It will take some practice and patience, but the rewards are life-changing as you learn to navigate your internal landscape with ease and compassion. Dr. Richard Schwartz developed this therapeutic model in the 1980s as a way to help people navigate and integrate their internal dynamics, fostering greater self-awareness, healing, and personal growth. Please help me continue to create these videos by subscribing to my channel if you find this content valuable. Many of the parts of ourselves can be categorized as an archetype. Archetypes are like the blueprint of human experiences, characters, and behaviors. They've been around going back to ancient civilizations and cultures. When you think of the Greek god Poseidon, the destroyer, you conjure up images of high seas, menacing storms, deadly earthquakes, and wild horses. He had a reputation for being pretty bad-tempered, unable to express his emotions in a healthy way. Instead, he lashed out in a destructive manner and took pleasure in the anguish of others. What about Lord Varys in Game of Thrones? He is the archetype of the sage, a wise truth seeker who desires to share knowledge. The sage knows that the hero must continue on their journey alone, but imparts them with sage advice. Archetypes show up everywhere, in literature, movies, dreams, work environments, and our very own minds. Aren't we the hero on our own journey through life? And when we go through an unwanted breakup, the archetype of the victim might strengthen their stance and flood us with feelings of helplessness, despair, and self-pity. The victim feels like life is happening to them, and they have no control. They are a victim of circumstance. The victim blames other people and even God for the unfairness that happens to them. The victim suffers not in silence, but wears it as a badge of honor. They desperately want to be rescued. If you've hopped from one relationship right into the next, it might have been the victim archetype who was in charge at the time. Understanding the archetypes can help us with our own self-awareness. By studying the archetypes, we get insight into our own thoughts, feelings, and the behaviors we choose. Think about that friend who always seems to pick a partner who has potential, but has fallen on hard times, might not have a steady job, has some medical or addiction issue, or was wrongly accused or convicted of a crime. To you, it seems so obvious that this is the wrong choice for a life partner, but the rescuer archetype was running the show for your unsuspecting friend. They may explain that they are the only ones who can understand or help the partner. The shadow aspect of the rescuer needs to be needed, and of course that creates a dysfunctional and often codependent dynamic. Carolyn Mace is a highly regarded educator in the field of healing, spirituality, personal development, and the study of archetypes. Visit her website for more information on archetype personalities and experiences. We've all been through betrayals, abandonments, and feeling ashamed. Those are not unique to only you or me. By recognizing these archetypes within ourselves, we can learn about ourselves, the patterns we've repeated in our relationships, and from that place of understanding, we can make sense of things, find meaning, and hopefully make better decisions. Renowned Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst Carl Jung described archetypes as the collective unconscious, a deeper layer of the psyche that contains inherited memories and experiences common to all of humanity. In Jungian psychology, there are universal symbols and patterns that are shared throughout the generations and across all cultures. By exploring and integrating these archetypal energies, Jung believed people could achieve greater self-awareness and individuation, the process of becoming whole and realizing our true potential. What can you learn from the sage, creator, and explorer archetypes? What lessons might they show you that you can incorporate into your journey as you heal from a broken heart? If you're up for it, I think a creative way to explore our parts of self, or archetypes, is to get theatrical. There's no reason why we can't dramatize a bit when we're going through some extreme feelings. Have you ever watched SNL and seen skits with Debbie Downer? Why not play up the part? Dramatize your villain, caregiver, or damsel in distress. Whether you do a TikTok about it or write out some scenes worthy of an Academy Award, magnify those aspects of both the highest self and lowest self, and any other archetypes in between. Creativity can open our minds to insights and healing that ruminating just can't accomplish. And on the days when you need to be reminded that you are the hero in your story, put on a piece of clothing or an accessory that empowers you with the strength you need to get through client calls, a double shift, or just facing the world. Remember, you're on a journey of healing and transformation. The seed does not become a blossom overnight.